When kids argue and fight, how parents can handle it gracefully. Hello, wonderful parents. Today, let's talk about a topic that many families experience: the sound of children arguing or even fighting. Hearing those noises can truly be irritating, frustrating, and sometimes leave us feeling helpless. Right? But did you know? These little disputes are not entirely bad. Sometimes, they are actually opportunities for children to learn how to resolve conflicts and develop emotional regulation skills. So, what's the key here? It's that we, as parents, should avoid rushing into our children's battles and not overreact or give too much negative attention when conflicts arise. Instead, we should try to understand the root of the issue, minimize situations that easily trigger arguments, actively teach children basic rules for resolving conflicts, and importantly, create opportunities for independent playtime. Sounds like a lot to do, right? Don't worry, we'll go through it step by step together. Don't jump into your child's fight right away. Sometimes when you hear your kids bickering, you just want to jump in and settle it immediately, right? It's natural, we want to restore peace quickly. But rushing to intervene can unintentionally send a message that, if they argue loudly enough, parents will show up and solve the problem for them. This doesn't help children learn how to handle issues on their own. Instead of acting like a referee deciding who's right or wrong, try stepping back a little. If the situation isn't too intense, encourage the children to talk it out and find a fair solution themselves. You might say, "I hear that you two aren't happy. Why don't you tell each other what's going on and work together to find a solution?" Of course, if the conflict escalates into screaming, strong pushing, or physical fighting, you must intervene, but do so quickly and decisively, separating the kids if needed. You might ask each child to cool off in a different room. Try not to get drawn into judging who's right or wrong at that moment. Instead, tell them that you will discuss the matter later when everyone is calm. Be a role model. Have you noticed? Children are like blank sheets of paper, learning everything from adults, especially their parents. How we resolve conflicts in the family is the clearest lesson for them. If they often see their parents arguing, shouting at each other, or with others, they will unconsciously copy that behavior, thinking it's the normal way to deal with disagreements. Therefore, try to limit arguments or raised voices in front of your children. Of course, disagreements in marriage are inevitable, but try to communicate gently and respectfully, or wait until the children aren't around. Even when you're facing your kids' battlefield, and their shouting seems to drown out your voice, do your best to stay calm. Avoid yelling or scolding. A gentle yet firm voice often works far better in tense situations. Remember, you are the mirror your child looks into every day. Break the vicious cycle of fighting. Fighting and arguing can easily turn into a vicious cycle, can't it? Child A does something that annoys child B reacts. Then both may escalate even more, especially when a parent intervenes, prolonging the tension. To break this negative cycle, we need to shift from being reactive to being proactive. When emotions are running high, it's hard for anyone to listen or think clearly. No matter what you say, one or both kids might think you're taking sides. That's why the best strategy is, wait. Let the anger subside and the atmosphere cool down. Later, sit down with the kids and review the basic conflict resolution rules you've agreed on as a family. If you haven't set them yet, now's the perfect time. Emphasize kindness, empathy, and teach important skills like negotiation and compromise. Next time you want the toy, what could you say instead of grabbing it? Or, if you both want to watch TV but different shows, what can you do? Be patient with this proactive approach. Over time, you'll notice a significant decrease in the number of sibling fights. Don't reward fighting behavior. It sounds strange, but sometimes Our attention can unintentionally encourage more fighting. Why? Because children crave adult attention, especially from their parents. Sometimes, a fight isn't really about a toy, it's about pulling you away from your work, your phone, and getting your attention. If you work from home, your child may have figured out that a loud argument will bring you running. Inadvertently, fighting is rewarded with your attention. Therefore, unless the situation is truly dangerous, try giving the children a short chance to work things out themselves before stepping in. Even just 1 to 2 minutes gives them a chance to negotiate. When you don't rush to intervene, kids realize that fighting isn't an effective way to immediately get your attention. Keep kids positively occupied. One common reason kids start fights? Boredom. When they have nothing interesting to do, teasing siblings can become an activity. On the other hand, when kids are engaged in independent activities they enjoy and that suit their age, they have less time and mental energy to cause trouble. Activities like drawing, reading, building with blocks, or playing with clay not only keep them entertained but also teach them to solve problems, like boredom, independently without constantly needing a parent. This independence helps reduce fights. A small note about TV and electronic devices. Although they can keep kids still for a while, too much screen time can actually trigger more fights. First, it's often something to argue about. Who gets the remote? What channel to watch? Second, passive activities like watching TV don't build creativity or problem-solving skills like active play does. Understand the root cause. We've mentioned boredom and the need for attention as common reasons. But there are others too. Sometimes, it's deeper, like jealousy and sibling rivalry, natural emotions that need guidance. Other times, it's simple, the child is hungry, tired, or not feeling well. A hungry tummy or an overtired body can make children much more irritable. Sometimes, arguments are simply a way for kids to release excess energy or express stress they can't put into words yet. If you take the time to observe and understand the true reason behind the conflicts, you'll be able to choose the most appropriate and effective response for each situation. Prevent conflicts before they erupt. Prevention is better than cure. This saying fits perfectly when handling children's conflicts. Instead of waiting for a fight to break out, we can act beforehand to reduce the risk. Notice if there are particular times or situations when your kids are more likely to argue, long car rides, when you're deeply focused on work, during transitions, like moving from playtime to dinner, or right before meals when they're hungry. Once you spot these hot spots, you can prepare. For example, have snacks ready before dinner, bring toys or books on car rides, and give advance warnings about upcoming transitions. Also, think about the specific things they often fight over. A favorite toy, TV time, computer use, or privileges, like choosing a seat or inviting a friend over. Create clear and fair rules for sharing these things, a TV schedule, turns for new toys, or assigning who picks seats on odd, even days. However, remember, life isn't always perfectly fair. If we stress too much about everything must be completely fair, kids might become rigid and struggle to accept minor unfairness, leading to even more arguments. Teach flexibility and acceptance too. Don't get discouraged, it's a journey. Finally, one important reminder: be patient and don't get discouraged. Helping children reduce fights, learn to get along, and resolve conflicts healthily is a long journey. It won't change overnight. Every child is different. Some are naturally more prone to clashes than others. Our job is to consistently equip them with the tools and skills they need. And at the same time, always remember, they are still just children, learning and growing. Sibling arguments, even though they can give us headaches, are a natural part of childhood. They help kids learn about relationships, themselves, and the world around them. I hope these tips help you feel more confident and less stressed when facing these tricky situations. Wishing you calm, wisdom, and lots of joyful, peaceful moments with your beloved children.